Jeremy here with Heart and Performance Training. We're working on the intro to the deadlift. The deadlift is another movement that creates tremendous power, probably the safest motion we can do because it centers around the bottom of the fulcrum is your hip joint, which is the deepest and most powerful socket in the body. So the squat was a counter move of the knee and the hip, whereas the deadlift is the counter move of the shoulder and the hip, which makes the fulcrum, in this case, your spine versus your femur. So with the spine being the fulcrum, we're really teaching your body how to keep pressure off that fulcrum and be able to counter move for great skill and efficiency. So with the deadlift, your knees are going to be fixed. We don't want straight legs, so we're not locked out. Females have a little bit harder time with that than men. We want to be fixed, kind of like you were swinging a tennis racket and there's a slight bend in your elbow and it's not fully extended because then the joints get out of whack. You want to have that fixed position in your knee, but then there's no motion in the knee through the motion. Once again, there's no motion at the ankles. There's no motion at the hip in this case, in terms of, there is all the motion at the hip here. So on this one, the spine angle, the shoulders stay down. We want that lordotic curve. In the back, we want that flexion in the neck. Using the stick can help set the shoulders or a dowel. We want to get your feet pillared, which means in a line versus a little bit wider in a squat. So we pillar our feet here, find the center of gravity. Fix the knees, keep the head still. We want to keep the eyes up on this and find a focal point. And then we just flex the hip and allow the shoulder to counter move. And we work down into a position. The more flexible you are, the more motion you're going to get. Okay? Now at the bottom of the move, the shoulders are on the toe line and the hip is on the heel line, which keeps my center of gravity on my feet. And then we just come back up. Very important that we don't stop the hip and let the shoulders then do motion at the bottom. So you're restricted by your hip movement. So the hip pulls and tilts the body, and then we use the hip to come back up. Once again, keeping pressure off the fulcrum, which is the spine, keeping the center of gravity in the middle of the feet at all times, and keeping the other joints still as we move through that hip. Please take your time with the deadlift. Work on your skill before you try to condition in any power, and there will be more to come on the deadlift.